If you want to build a pond and can't decide between a hard shell liner and a flexible rubber liner, this video is for you. I'll first compare both types of liners and then show you 5 different ponds. 2 of these used preformed liner and the other 3 used the flexible liner. These ponds used a variety of different styles of installation, so you'll be able to get some great ideas about designing your own pond. Preformed liners are also called hard shell liners. They are made from plastic using a preformed mold. This creates a strong liner that is puncture resistant and will last a long time. They are a good choice for a small pond, especially if this is your first pond and you want to keep things simple. The preforms are a bit easier to install than a flexible liner, and you can see the exact shape of the final pond even before you buy it, and this can help with your design step. There are some downsides to a preformed. Most retailers have a limited number of sizes and designs, and they are not suitable for very large ponds, and even mid-sized ones can be difficult to transport. One of the key requirements for building a natural pond is to have a planting shelf, and most preforms don't have any, or if they do, they're very small ones. This can be overcome to some extent by adding some sort of a shelving system inside the pond to hold pots of plants. Flexible pond liners are made from soft, flexible material that can be easily folded and rolled up. They are almost as easy to install as a hardshell liner and give you unlimited design possibilities. This is the type selected by serious pond enthusiasts and most professionals. The flexible material can be shaped into any shape you want, so it can meet your specific requirements. Although the material is heavy, they are easier to transport because they can be rolled up. Planting shelves can be added to your design, and they can be made as wide as you want. Pieces of liner can also be joined together to make very large ponds. The downside of flexible liners is that they are a bit more work to install, and they should be installed with an underlayment material to help prevent punctures. They might not be quite as puncture resistant as the preformed ones, but the 45mm rubber liner is extremely tough. Now that you understand the pros and cons of the 2 options, let's have a look at how they can be used. The first of our ponds is a simple installation of a small preformed pond. This project can be easily completed in a day. Dig a hole, level the pond, fill in around the shell, and then fill it with water. This pond is part of a native garden, and plants around the pond have been used to help hide the liner. It is a natural pond with no pumps or filters, and every year several frogs take up residence, keeping the mosquitoes from breeding. If you have never built a pond, this is a great starter project to get your feet wet. Our second pond also uses a preformed pond, but it's a bit bigger. This is the garden at the start of the project, and here is the newly purchased pond. Installation of the pond is easy, but it is important to make sure it is level and that it stays level while you fill in the soil around the outside. Once in place, start adding water. One of the problems with preformed ponds is that it is very difficult to hide the edge. It has to sit above soil level, and because the sides are very steep, you also see the inside of the liner in most installations. The owner of this project decided to use large overhanging rocks, which did a great job of hiding the edge of the pond. It takes extra effort to make the pond look very natural, but it was definitely worth it in this case. Pond 3 was made with a flexible rubber liner. These pictures show you the basic steps for installation. Design the pond any way you want and dig the hole. Note the wide planting shelves, which will house plants for cleaning the pond, as well as hiding the pond liner. When complete, you won't see any of the liner except at the bottom of the pond. The pond now has the underlayment installed, and this is now covered with the liner. With most of the water in place, it's time to add the stones around the edge of the planting shelves and around the outside of the pond. The existing plantings, including the iris at the back, will make a great looking pond. It is a natural design using no pumps or filters. The pond plants will be cleaning the water and keeping the algae from growing. The fourth pond also uses a flexible liner, but the installation is quite different. After digging the hole and adding the underlayment and adding the liner, most of the bottom of the pond was covered with stones and rocks of various sizes. The sides are very sloped, giving the pond more of a beach look and making it easy for animals to enter and exit the pond. The top edge is covered with flagstone and gravel was added around the outside. The plants have now settled in and are doing their job of keeping the water clean. When done right, these natural ponds are really easy to care for. All four of these ponds are all fairly new installations, so I thought I'd add one final pond. This is my own natural pond that uses a rubber liner, but has no pump or filter, and I use no chemicals. It has now been in place for about 13 years, and I have no algae problems. If you want to know more about building such natural ponds, join our Facebook group called Building Natural Ponds, and consider buying my book, also called Building Natural Ponds. I wish you luck with your next pond project.